Hello, everyone. Just out of curiosity, the people who are just joining the attendees, while we're waiting to start up and let everyone join, I'm kind of curious to see where you guys are joining from, what state or country. If you just could post it in the chat, it'd be cool just to see, people from all over the world are joining or wherever you are in the world. So you don't have to. I just thought it would be kind of cool while we're all waiting. So, oh, is it disabled? We can just put it in the Q&A. Warm everybody up for asking Sean some questions here in a moment. Hello, Kathleen from New York. Cool. All right. All right. Can everyone see my screen? Just want to quickly check before I start.
Yep.
All right. Well, thanks for joining, everyone. This is the Mainframe Education Student User Group, where we're going to be asking a speaker some questions about their experience with the mainframe. This is provided by the Open Mainframe Project Education Group, and we'll talk a little bit more about what that group is later after we kind of get a little bit more into the interview with our speaker. So I'm going to kick it off real quick. Today's panelist is Sean Kurtz. Sean Kurtz entered the mainframe programming space 3 years ago after gaining experience in startups and working with higher level languages. He quickly recognized the exciting opportunities that the mainframe technologies offered for engaging in more complex and innovative projects. Today, he serves as a technical consultant at Broadcom, assisting in customers' modernization in their environment. So Sean, kind of on your bio, first off, if you want to do a brief introduction yourself on, you know, where you started your mainframe career, where you're located right now, and what company you're at, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. So currently I'm working at Broadcom in Dallas, Texas, specifically Plano. Um and that's a cool place and everything like that. But other than that, before that I was working in, I grew up in Austin,
Hmm.
Austin, Texas. And I worked there and I was sort of in the startup scene for a long
Hmm.
time. For several years, even from like 2015 or something like that, as I was getting out of like high school and all of that. And so I wasn't really fully familiar with like mainframes and stuff.
Hmm.
But I eventually became familiar with them. And that's sort of the transition that I went through.
So
Yeah.
how did real quickly,
Yeah.
where'd you go to college and what was your degree? And then can you talk a little bit about your experience in the startup environment?
So I went to UT Dallas for an electrical engineering degree. And so that was my main thing. Yeah, was UT Dallas electrical engineering. It was pretty hardcore technical stuff. Um, but other than that, I didn't really worry about that all that much. I didn't really want to get like an actual like electrical engineering job, if that makes sense. Um, like I sort of felt like kind of negative about that. So so I was looking more for like programming jobs, and
Okay.
that's sort of what I was looking for, and that's how I ended up in startups. And yeah, in like the Austin area and all that stuff. I wasn't really looking for electrical engineering stuff. That makes sense.
So what was your draw towards, programming and startups? Because I think it's important, in your story from
Yeah,
like where you started, you were in electrical engineering, you were interested in kind of getting into programming and startups because that's part of your path and your journey towards kind of the mainframe. So I'm a little bit curious if you could expand like what your draw to that was.
sure. So I think the draw is a little bit like the consistency for the
Mhm.
mainframe. I think that the mainframe has like there's a lot of consistency there that doesn't exist in other parts of like the programming ecosystem, so to speak. Um, so that was always really cool to me. That all of these people were sort of they were all sort of learning the same things, and I don't really know how to describe it. But it's great. They just yeah, the mainframe ecosystem is great, and they're not trying to do that. So in the web developer ecosystem, it's a little bit worse because they're all trying to they're trying to uh well, they're trying to make things a little bit more difficult, and I don't really know how to deal with that.
Right,
Yeah,
right. So when was it that, you first, like kind of going back a little bit, when was it that you first kind of were interested in the technical field? I know you said you got into electrical engineering. What
yeah.
was the draw to, being quote unquote technical or kind of getting into the programming world? Was it just you were interested in the technology, interested in the career opportunities?
It was always technology and always career opportunities, and definitely like around like 2015, 2018, around those years, I was always interested in that sort of stuff. That's what I always wanted to do, and I don't really, yeah, yeah,
So, if I recall, you graduate from college, you're in the startups, and that's around 2019, right? And you're doing a lot of
yep,
web development work, and you're starting, that's you had a word for this. This is right before you said the startup apocalypse, right? Could you tell me kind of what that was like? You're a fresh grad, you're going through this crazy time in startups, and all of a sudden things start to
yeah.
change rapidly.
Well, around like 2021,
Mhm.
2022, a little bit after COVID, not exactly at COVID, but a little bit after, it all sort of just went to total crap. Like it
Yeah.
was really bad. You find out that like all these companies, they're not really viable like long term.
Hmm.
Like maybe IBM is, and maybe Microsoft, and like all these other companies. They're viable, but not these other people that you've been working for. And then yeah, that's when you sort of get to working on your actual skills and like
Right.
how to like build a life like as a programmer,
Yeah.
and
Yeah. So what was because there's a lot of people who have like questions about like, hey,
right.
what languages should I learn from the mainframe? And we're not quite at the point in your mainframe career, but I think it's interesting because you were working with like JavaScript and all the more
Yeah,
quote
exactly. Yeah.
unquote modern stuff. How do you think your time learning these languages helped you prepared for the mainframe, or do you think it really had an impact on, learning languages for the mainframe at all?
So I wouldn't say that you need to really learn like specific languages for the mainframe.
Uh,
Like you can learn any language, and if you're a good programmer, you're a good programmer. It's not a specific language kind of thing. Um, Other than that, I mean, I would just recommend people learn C. That's the one recommendation that I would give people is C, just because it's sort of the grandfather of all languages, like modern like languages, and so I would say people should learn that. Um, Other than that, yeah, I don't really know. Yeah. It's I mean, the mainframe is not very different from other platforms. That's what I really want to get across. It's that it's not really very different.
So before we start, just framing everything, you're an electrical engineer, you go into startups, you're doing all this web development stuff, and the startup stuff just kind of falls through the bottom. And that's in 2021. Before we start on where your mainframe journey really picks up, there's a really great question from Nail Ashley. I'm so
Yep.
sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name. She's asking, as someone who also went from engineering at college to a mainframe career, did you also find any transferable skills between the two fields?
Absolutely. It's very transferable. I think that you are probably better off having started in an engineering field instead of like computer science or anything like that. And that might be controversial or something to say, but I think it's true. And I think that you have gone through like the hard math classes and everything like that. That's actually a benefit. And I'm sorry to say all that, that's a little bit, but yeah.
So what skills do you think you gained from that others could kind of gain insight to, ways that they could use, you said like kind of the hard math class. Is it the
Yeah.
problem solving aspect that's really important?
I think it
Or
is. Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the problem solving aspect, all of that. Yeah, that's very difficult, and it's not something that most people sign up for. Like, they're not really interested in it. Um, as like a, I don't know.
So here's an interesting, thing that I've noticed. I think a lot of people really want to solve problems when they're passionate about something.
Yeah.
And I think being passionate about problem solving or solving problems lends itself very well to a mainframe career, right?
Yeah. I sort of get that. Like, but
Mhm.
I think the mainframe career is perfect for solving problems. I mean, we've got more problems than anybody else, to be honest. I mean, this is a great place to go to do that.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. So coming back to your career path, so when you went through the startup apocalypse, what was it that set you on the path to, mainframes? Like, how did you first learn what a mainframe was, and how did you start to look into a career, and what was that transition?
Sure. So I was just looking for like, any sort of web development job, and it was looking like it's going to take a long time, it's going to be bad. So I ended up going to IBM. There was this thing at the time called like the IBM um like they had
The
an an apprenticeship program, and it was called
mm,
like the IBM
the apprenticeship or something along those
yeah, Z
lines.
apprenticeship. Yeah, it was something like that. And so that's what I was working through. And I was just basically learning the operating system at that time. And so I learned the operating system, ZOS and all that. And that's basically all I did. Like I did that for about a year. And
So when you were going through that program at the start, how much did you know about the mainframe when you were first going through this apprenticeship
oh,
program?
literally nothing. It was crazy. Like, yeah, I knew nothing.
Did you
Yeah,
know what a mainframe was before applying to the apprenticeship?
absolutely not. Yeah, no, I had no idea. Yeah, it was
Okay.
crazy.
So what were your thoughts when you were, first applying to this apprenticeship? Was it just like, hey, I just need to find some new career path?
Yeah, it was a little bit of that. Other than that, it's like, it has to be like sort of programming. Um,
Okay.
because I've spent like, 10 years, 5 years, something like that, learning how to program and everything like that. And it's got to be like related to that, or else I'm going
Mhm.
to come in like really low level. So it's got to be yeah, programming. Um, but other than that, yeah, it's exactly that. I've got to
So
yeah.
when you were going through the program, what was it that you were learning about in this Z Apprentice program?
So operating systems, it was basically an operating systems class, and
Mhm.
that's what I found so super interesting. It was an operating systems class, sort of like how you kind of take in college sometimes.
Mhm.
But it was very interesting because like the ZOS operating system, ZOS, it's very different from like Linux or Microsoft Windows these days. And so I thought it was super cool. Um, and I always wanted to work on that sort of stuff, and I didn't get to do that during my yeah, but it was cool.
So speaking of operating systems, you have a lot of Linux experience, don't you?
Yes, I'm very
Yes.
good. Yeah, I'm not going to say the stupid thing about Arch or whatever, but yeah.
So when you were going through this and learning about the operating systems for, a year, once you were done with the apprenticeship program, how did your opinion on the mainframe and ZOS, like what changed in that year?
I mean, I really realized that it was more open than they really advertise. Like in the early days,
Hmm.
they were always giving out like code for like other stuff. And that's how like stuff like Jazz 2, for instance, that was actually a customer program. Like a customer actually invented that. And that became part of like the IBM mainframe like experience or whatever. And it was sort of the first open source sort of program environment ever. I think like the IBM mainframe actually, which is kind of crazy when you look at it nowadays because nobody really looks at it like that. And
So for the folks in the audience, some of them may know what Jez 2 is, some may not.
oh yeah,
Would you want to expand on just, very
I'll
briefly
expand on
what?
Just 2. Yeah, Just 2 it's basically task manager. Think of it as like task manager for it's task manager for your computer if your computer happens to be a mainframe. And it keeps track of processes and all the different tasks on your system. And that's basically all I can say about it. It's really
That's perfect.
it's just
That's
yeah.
perfect. So, at the end of your Z apprenticeship, you've learned about the mainframe. You think it's a really cool platform with a lot of kind of open source areas within it. And, at the end of this apprenticeship, you have an opportunity to go to another company, right? If you want to continue on your mainframe path, is that how that works?
Yeah, so I decided to stick on the mainframe path instead of going back to like robotics. And I mean that's a long story, but yeah, I stuck on the mainframe path because it was just more interesting, I think. And I don't really know how to explain that very well. It was just more
It's
interesting than yeah, it was just more interesting and there was more stuff going on in the mainframe environment than there was in like normal startup land, especially during like the startup apocalypse of like 2023, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this is around the time when like all the big open source initiatives for the mainframe are really starting to come online and be recognized by the community. So was that, it sounds like that was a big part of your draw, is like you saw this platform that's doing a lot and things are opening up and there's all sorts of new projects spinning up. Is that kind of the main thing?
Yeah.
You were like,
That is the main thing. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's the main thing. There's a lot of it's just very interesting to see a new like hardware platform that has been available for like 50 years plus.
Mhm.
And then but nobody really knows about it. Like
Yeah.
and it's been running the whole entire world for like 50 years. And that's been very interesting. Um, yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah, it's just a very interesting platform, and I think everybody should really learn it, I think.
Yeah. So, to sum it up, you just saw this platform that was going through a lot of modernization, and you thought this is the place where I want to grow and build up my career and specialize in.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah.
So then, after you finished your Z apprenticeship, what was the job that followed that?
So that was a job as a systems programmer, which
Okay.
that's kind of hard to explain. It's sort of like a it's sort of like, it's a systems administrator, in
Hmm.
other, you know, that's sort of what it is, but also you need to know like assembly and stuff. Um, so it's a little bit of it's like a low level systems administrator job. And that was difficult, but it was a fun job. And I really loved that.
Remind me, it was a financial institution that you went to after
Yeah, so
the
it was
apprenticeship.
Brookfield from Canada. So
Hmm.
the Brookfield American National Insurance Company in the United States, they got bought by Brookfield, and so then I got brought in to sort of help them out as we were migrating all their systems. So yeah, I was working for Brookfield and American National, and that's
So you're coming in, you know about ZOS, you know about the operating systems and the mainframe. What did that first month look like in this role? Was it
so it
pretty
was really
hectic?
good. It was pretty hectic, and I think that the biggest thing people need to know about like the mainframe is it's really easy, but you just need to learn ISPF. That's really the big thing. You really need to go. If anybody's uh, touched the Explorer, for instance, you really need to go and work through Z Explorer. And you don't have to finish all of the advanced options to get this, but you need to get through it and go to the extended and get an ISPF login because that's really the user interface for all of us like professionals that work on the mainframe. Is we all work through ISPF, and yeah, I don't know how to say it other than that. Yeah, we
So that first month, this is your first role and you're handling, I'm guessing, both like kind of development and production efforts on the mainframe, correct?
yeah,
Yeah.
yep.
And, for the and you don't need to go into too many details, but I'm guessing there is like, a massive amounts of transactions, per second. And this is a
Yep.
huge financial institution. It's a very important platform for the company, right?
You're right. Yeah, it very much is. And yeah, it's probably their most important platform. And that's why they're so protective of like who can work on it and that sort of thing. And so yeah,
So when
exactly.
you come into this job, did you find that it was, a lot of there's a couple college grads and there's a couple people with like, 30, 40 years of experience. Was that your experience or was it a
Oh,
different thing?
no, that was absolutely, yeah, that's my experience. Yeah. I mean, I met a lot of people who were in the field for like 30 or 40 years. Yeah. And they were very well endowed and they were running this whole shop and I don't really know what to say about them besides that I really enjoyed my time talking to them and that they were great, you know. And that's something that everybody should do is just take the time to speak to their mentors, everything like that. Um,
So that kind of goes into like building your mainframe skills, right? Is, learning from the people who are been doing this for a couple decades because you're coming in and you have to inherit certain parts of their responsibilities. And in some cases, these people are close to retirement too. So did you have a situation where, you were kind of there to back somebody up that, was going to be leaving soon, or, a couple of years down the line that you would be inheriting some of that workload?
Absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's absolutely a thing that happens. I was basically like the DB2 backup for
Okay.
um for my friend yeah, he was basically the DB2 master at my company, and I was just, sort of backing him up and learning from him. And yeah, that's absolutely something that happens. Yeah, you
S- So, how important was it that you had that kind of mentorship to learn on the role? Was that a big part of, like, because I know you went through the apprenticeship and you learned a lot about the operating system, and then you get into this new role, and now you're, working with people who are trying to just, um, provide you with massive amounts of information. Was it really important to have that mentorship in order to kind of start on that role?
that's probably yeah, that's the most important thing that you could possibly do. Yeah, is just get involved with like the community and get involved with like because everybody the mainframe community is like sort of it's a small community. We all know each other basically. And yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was great. Yeah, having a mentor that was older than me and who's been through this all before. He's been through it like 20, 30 years, something like that. And that was great. Yeah.
So beyond the mentorship, how did you help yourself learn more on the job beyond, I went through this apprenticeship and I had this mentorship. Was there things that you were able to find, resources that helped you build up your skills?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, the big one would be the IBM Z Explorer. I mean, that would be a big thing that people should probably check out. And here's something that people don't tell you about that is that if you get through the advanced exercises, um, you actually are able to get through that, and they will give you an actual ISPF login ID
Okay.
into one of the IBM mainframes, and then you will really learn how stuff actually works. So that was really cool getting to actually experience that, and I think everybody should do that. Um,
I think that's a really interesting thing. So when you go into Z Explorer, you have three modules, right? You have the intro
mhm,
level stuff, you have it, what was it, advanced and then extended courses. And in
right.
order to go to the advanced level, you have to complete all the intro levels. But you told me something I didn't know. To get to the extended, you don't have to do all the advanced courses, right?
That's exactly right. You have to do like maybe like a fifth of them.
Okay.
It's a small portion of the actual advanced exercises that you actually have to complete to get the invite to the extended section. So it looks really intimidating at the first glance when you look at it, but it's really not. You just got to do a couple of them,
And
and so
then
just pick the easiest ones.
if you just want to get to being able to use ISPF, uh, that's your recommendation. Just pick a couple easy from
That
advanced to get
exactly
to extended.
because if you know ISPF and you can sell that on an interview,
Mhm.
you're gonna look really good, I think, because most young people don't know that. Yeah, you're gonna look
So
really good.
speaking of interviews, when you were going through this, dialing it back again, because I think you have a very interesting, perspective on interviews and kind of skills that lead up to it. When you were going through your first interview outside of the IBM Z apprenticeship, or I forget if it was for the apprenticeship or for the financial institute, you said that or at least you told me that they were really interested in your badges and kind of exploration of the mainframe.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah. So if you can finish more of these badges, like these I mean, those are very good to do, like, because I mean that shows that you have been taking time on your own dime, um, to actually finish and learn stuff. And everybody actually likes that. All the companies, and it's I don't know how to explain it, but it works. You gotta do some stuff on your own, and I think that that's really been the biggest thing that helped me get a job and stuff. And yeah.
Awesome. So, any other skills or kind of sources of information you'd recommend for helping build up mainframe skills off the top of your head, or is it
So
mostly?
I would absolutely recommend that you all join the Discord server. Let me go find out what that is actually called.
The was it Z enthusiast? Yeah.
Yeah,
So
Z
on the topic,
enthusiasts. Yeah, yeah.
that's a
Go
great
ahead.
transition. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you know, we're starting to talk about the community, and the mainframe community is a very, very interesting community. What brought you into the mainframe community?
I was mostly just looking for a job,
Yeah.
like that's I mean that's the main thing. But other than that, it's just it was really cool. You're working on an operating system that's different and unique, and it has like a moat, if that makes sense, a moat. Um,
Mhm.
so it's not something where you're gonna get laid off in like, 5 years or
Right.
something. Like
S-
if you
s-
can learn the skill, you're gonna be good.
So when you came into the mainframe community, where was your entry point? Like, was it the Discord chat? Was it like a share event?
It was half the Discord chat and half the it was half the just the apprenticeship. Um, and they sort of introduced me to the Discord chat and all that. But I think the Discord chat for anybody new, like trying to get into the mainframe community, that's where you want to go. Because that's where you're gonna find like real professionals who are working in the space. And yeah,
You
just talk to them.
and you're pretty involved with the Discord chat, right?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah. I see your name
Yeah,
popping
yeah.
up.
Yeah, I'm involved, yeah, for sure.
So, when we're talking about community, one of the big aspects of kind of the open education is kind of not only being part of the community, but, serving in the community. And I see that you are, on the Discord and you're talking to a lot of people and providing guidance. And something I've seen from you and other people is that, if you have a question and you post it on the Discord or you go to one of these other communities, people are generally pretty supportive of talking with you and answering. And I'm kind of curious, is did you at what point did you realize like, oh wow, this is a community that wants to support me? And did you feel like you wanted to contribute back?
I think from the very beginning, I thought it was a very supportive community from the very beginning. And I don't think there's anything like unique about it in that way, but it was just it was just very cool, everybody wanted to support me. And they don't have a lot of people who want to talk them up very often. So I think they it's a very cool community. And I don't know what to say about that. Yeah.
Yeah, so beyond your involvement with the Discord, and it's okay if it's mostly the Discord because I know you're very heavily involved with it. Is there any other ways that you're involved with the community today and beyond just, the Discord chat?
Yeah, so mostly like the C community chat and getting involved in like so there's a new compiler that they're working on, which is very interesting to me. It's based on LLVM. Um, so that's what I'm sort of working on that right now. But other than that, yeah, it's just the
The
C.
Discord.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's just the Discord and all of that sort of stuff. And I don't know. Yeah, that's it.
So what, you know, what events have you been to get more involved within the community?
Sure. So, I mean, a big one would be Share. That's a great one to go to for anybody who has an invite or could go. That would be a great one to go to. I went to Share in it was down in Louisiana, and that was pretty cool. And that was an awesome event, and I would just recommend everybody go there, like to Share. And I know there's a Share going on. It was last week, so everybody here missed it. But yeah, yeah, go to Share. Other than that, you could go to just any general tech conferences. Like you don't have to be like totally mainframe or whatever. You can just go to whatever tech conferences interest you, um, and that's going to help the mainframe community too. Like if you just yeah.
Right. So at these conferences, it's just a good opportunity to network and learn more about the mainframe and the technical community, right?
Yeah, yeah, a little bit. And it's not just that it's you're not working. I mean,
Mhm.
there are very interesting things that like go on there, you know. People are presenting their papers and their all sorts of like technical stuff that you can learn about at these conferences. And it doesn't have to be related or anything like that, but it works out, you know. And
Yeah. So, kind of on to the last few questions, what would you say to those who are also considering transitioning to mainframe?
I would just say it's like any other job. You know, it's basically it's totally equivalent to like working at any like startup or anything like that. Um, you do not have to like avoid the mainframe for some reason. One of the big things that people have a misimpression about is that, you know, you have to be like a COBOL programmer or something if you work on the mainframe, and that's not true. Um, like I have not touched a line of COBOL in my entire life, and I'm sort of glad about that. But I don't want to like, you know, put down any COBOL programmers or anything like that. Like, but you do not. It's not the stereotype um, that you think it is. It's pretty normal. There's a lot of big companies that work on it, and yeah, just pick the job up. If you've got a job, yeah, a job offer to go to the mainframe, just do it.
So then, I think that's a really interesting topic is this idea of like programming languages and the mainframe and should I learn COBOL, should I learn Java, etc.
Yeah.
How and I know this we're a little bit further in the interview, but like how did you navigate not knowing COBOL? And what skills, helped you transition to the mainframe? Because
Well, yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Mostly, I just went into systems programming instead of
yeah.
applications, and applications is mostly where COBOL is.
Mhm.
So I went into systems. I was working mostly on like C and stuff that you know you learn in school, um, and just trying to stay away from like the COBOL stuff. And that's okay. Uh, but mostly, yeah, that's it. Like I just don't. People talk bad about like the mainframe because oh you're going to be like a COBOL person your entire life or something, and that's not true. That's not true at all. You can be like uh, a regular programmer and work on the mainframe.
And you used VS Code and Rex a lot, right?
Yeah.
To kind of do a lot of stuff that you were doing.
Yep, VS Code and Rex and even like Vim and stuff, and all of this stuff works on the mainframe. You do not have to you do not have to, yeah, yeah. make that stuff work weird or anything like that. VS Code, Rex, all of it works great.
Yeah. So summing it all up, just take the mainframe job and just learn it, and you'll come out with some pretty valuable skills, and you'll understand what you need to understand kind of just by jumping in, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, that's what I'd
So,
say.
last kind of question, do's and don'ts for people new to the mainframe. There's a lot of things you can do. Some people say there's things that maybe you shouldn't do. Do you have any advice for folks?
I mean, I think the big piece of advice would just be kind of nice. Like these are just regular people. All the mainframe programmers, all these, these legends and all that. They're all cool, and just don't be trying to like force them to write rest or something. And that's I'm sorry about that joke, but yeah,
Yeah.
don't be forcing people to write rest or something like that. Like, these people know what they're doing. Like everybody working on the mainframe, they know what they're doing.
Yeah. So, it's kind of navigating the decades of experience, and we've been doing things this way for 30 to 40 years versus the new person coming on saying, here's how we should be doing things. It's kind of like a
Right,
navigation
just
of like,
right.
so
Just try not to be like antagonistic to whatever is going on. And that's
kind of,
basically all you got to do, because they will teach you, because they're very nice, like people, the mainframe people.
but there's still, I think it's a give and take, right? They'll give you all this information, and once you build a relationship with them, then you can, once you really understand the mainframe and the applications running on it and all these platforms, then you can start to think of like, hey, do you know about ZOSMF, and VS Code? Because you might not be using it, but people coming on in the next decade might find a
Yeah,
lot of value in it.
exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
what I'm saying is not that like, they won't change or like anything like
Right,
that,
right.
because they will change, and they are very open to like advice that you want to provide and anything like that. What I was mostly trying to get across is that it's just a very interesting field, and they don't they want to work with you, and it's not something that you have to make yourself vulnerable for or anything like that. So I think it's great, and
Yeah, no, for sure. Well, any last words for the audience, or any last thoughts?
I guess not. Yeah, I think let me see here. No, I
Well,
guess not. Yeah.
we really appreciate your input, and if anybody wants to, I highly recommend going on that Discord chat and finding Sean Kurtz and pinging him,
Yeah,
or
yeah, just
even
hit me up.
just
Yeah.
introducing yourself on the Discord chat channel itself, and we'll all chime in and say hi to you if you haven't yet. Um, Devonte, were you able to make the yeah, there he is. Hey Devonte. Any last questions for you for that you want to ask Sean? I know you kind of joined in here just a few minutes ago.
Yeah, I'm all good, and thank you again, Sean. I have to go back and watch the replay to get the whole personal story.
No worries. Yeah, yeah, you're good.
Did a good job, so really excited to have you here.
Yeah.
All right, let's. So you want to take over on the what is the open education, Devonte?
Sure. So Mainframe Open Education is a part of the Open Mainframe project, and our key goals is to help onboarding new mainframe talent, skill, and get educated on everything around mainframes. We've developed a Git book, which we can share the link with you all today, so that way you all can have free access to education tools and assets that we use every day on our roads, right? So this also helps address mainframe education awareness and the skills gap, right? So that anyone new to mainframes can just go to this Get book and learn all different types of resources about just getting started in mainframes and the different types of roles there are. And if you get to the next slide, Taylor. Speaking of the Git book, you can actually contribute to the structure of our Git book. So right now we have 5 different chapters, and we're also continuing to build more content as we go along here. But you actually do earn a digital badge for contributing to our Git book. So if anyone wants to contribute, just feel free to reach out to anyone on the panel, and we'll be sure to get you set up and locked in. But we're always looking for new topics and new ideas for people in the community. All right, and then there should be one more. Yep, there it is. Okay. Yep. So actually yeah. So like I said before, we are looking for people to develop content. So just let us know, and we'll help you get set up. And like I said, you can earn a badge for it and showcase it on LinkedIn, and let people know that you're contributing and bring even more people to the Git book. So we're always looking for new things. And Taylor, do you have the IBM Z Day link up?
I do not have the link up at this point, but if you want to just briefly talk about the IBMC day.
Yeah, sure. I do have it up, so I can share.
Yeah.
See.
Yes.
All right, here we go. All right. So, we do want to plug that there will be a very special edition of IBM Z Day on April 8th, which is where the next generation of IBM Z systems will be announced. This is a free 1-day virtual event for anyone interested in learning more about Z. You can come, you can register today. We're gonna have people from all over the community talking about the next generation of Z, AI and data, and then also app development, right? And there will be different tracks where you can go on. There will be tracks curated just for security, new to Z, and then also development tracks as well. And then also you get to earn you get to earn badges. So these badges are just for IBM Z Day, and you can earn them through a number of different ways throughout Z-Day, and then also on IBM Z Explorer as well. And yeah, you can go ahead and get started and register now. This event will be on April 8th, and we will share the link with you all somehow. But yeah, but be sure to register for that. And yeah, so excited for it.
And thank you for sharing that. And real quick, I think I saw somebody raise their hand. Did someone raise their hand from the audience for a question? Just been seeing things then. But yeah, thank you so much for sharing that, Devonte. I think it's going to be a great event for people to join and learn about the very exciting announcement, right?
Yeah, super excited for that. Can't really tell you what it is, but definitely know it's going to be a huge surprise for everyone in this community, and we're just looking forward to the next generation of IBM Z systems. So super excited for it.
Is there any other questions from the audience in the last few minutes? Open to Q&A at this point. All right. Well, thank you everyone for joining. Please reach out with any questions to any of the panelists. We love talking with you guys and love helping you guys out. And again, the IBM Z Day is a great experience. Highly recommend joining. And if you haven't already, please join the Discord. If there's nothing else, guys, you guys have a great rest of your day, and thanks for joining.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks.